Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show.
What's up, nerds? I was just looking at something.
I was going to just wait.
No, I knew. I was here. Hey, Pickle.
Mm-hmm.
Happy International Women's Day.
Thank you. Go girl power. Yeehaw.
Is it, I mean,
Do you have any other
statement on that? You can have the floor if you'd like to.
No, shout out to Will Wilkerson for bringing bringing that to all of our attention, because the girls in the office didn't realize that.
No, the girls were too busy working.
Exactly. They were too busy doing our job to recognize
that.
While
the dudes were like, hey, we're like scrolling Twitter. Like, look at this.
Hey, it's Women's Day. But yeah, Will brought it up and he took a picture of the 4 girls that work in the office, which y'all know Mallory and I. But there's also Emma Klingenpill. We got to get her a new last name.
Really
actually, I was fixing to say she is. She's engaged. And then Amanda Atwell. So we took a picture and yeehawed.
Yeah.
So.
And that's after. I mean, we've had other women who have worked here.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend Shonda Lancaster.
And Kendall.
Kendall Iams.
Point.
Kendall Point. Sorry. Way back in the Wayback Machine, before your time, we have Kristen Boato. I wonder what she's doing. Hi, Kirsten, if you're watching. She is not. She was not into football, I don't think. I think she was like, this is fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, shout out to them. We celebrated International Women's Day this morning by watching a really interesting basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
We logged on to the old ESPN Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched, it was Iona versus Ryder.
The 8th and 9th seed in the
first
MAC.
round of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference basketball tournament. It had to be, so it was in Atlantic City.
Which is in New Jersey.
It had to be like a 9:30 a.m. tip.
Yeah, because we were watching at
watched it,
right about 10:15-ish, and it was almost over.
It was fourth quarter. Oh, yeah. It was fourth quarter. And I don't know. As you know, this is a good time of year for me. And I'm not a huge college basketball guy.
Yeah.
But it's a good time for me because you know what I am about, and that is live sports on television all the time.
Yes, absolutely.
Every moment of the year, every moment of existence, there needs to be a live sporting event available to the public.
Which we had a 3-screen up. We pulled up our little Apple TV and had it a trifecta because it was that women's basketball game on the big screen, and then cricket on the top right, and curling underneath.
Curling is another good one for this because curling, they have like the Bonspiels, which are like long term. They just play all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's good for my purposes
as
well.
It was big sicko screen going on, which was great.
But college baseball is good for this because TCU's playing baseball right now, like right now.
Which is not fun in this weather.
No,
it's sleeting outside.
I think they're at Louisville.
Oh, okay. Regardless, thumbs down to the weather.
Oh, yeah, thumbs down.
Go back to being warm. It's supposed to be like 75 on Thursday, which is great.
Yeah.
And then it's supposed to be raining and in like the 30s on Friday.
Another
trash.
We've had this conversation on the pre-show before, but we have 2 fake seasons here.
Yeah.
We have a fake season at the beginning of spring, and we have a fake season at the end of summer. We've started calling the fake season at the end of summer Fraudum,
yes.
Fraudum. But we need a name for what is fake spring.
Yeah.
Because what happens is last week, it was there was a couple of days. There was a couple of days in which it was legit gorgeous outside.
Yeah, we had a 3-day stretch of 75, breezy, beautiful.
Great, right? And I'm thinking, ha-ha!
Well, you made it.
Spring's here. We did it. We got through winter. Nope. And now it's sleeting this morning.
Yeah, I still blame that stupid groundhog. I have a beef with Puxatawny Phil that I'm ready to bring to the public, and I don't like that groundhog.
I don't like groundhogs to begin with.
He is a rodent who doesn't see his shadow.
We had a groundhog in our yard. Or is a gopher, groundhog, whatever it was.
Oh, it's like Caddyshack.
Whatever it was, but it was this was a few years ago. Something was digging up
our
yard.
They'll tear it up.
There were suddenly tunnels popping up on our yard. I'm like, what in the heck? And so then, but it was so funny. So I call a rodent exterminator.
Oh, you didn't get dynamite and try to blow it up like Caddyshack? That seems like a lot more fun. I could have come over and helped with dynamite. I feel like that's something I would enjoy.
I will withhold my Caddyshack opinion for another pre-show. But called them, and this is, of course, being Texas. I was like, hey, we got something digging up our yard, hoping somebody can come out and take a look at it. And the woman on the phone was like, oh, okay, well, we have had problems with armadillos and feral hogs and stuff like that. I was like, no. I live on a cul-de-sac.
I live in suburbia.
You don't got to worry about a feral hog digging up my...
Man, I'll tell you what, they'll make some big ruts out there, though. That's Llano territory. Those things are pesky. But so are gophers.
Yeah. Yeah, gophers. And so what ended up happening was I think they bury a trap.
Yeah.
And then they trapped. They did say, they said that they were not a kill. They were not a kill exterminator. They're not a pest control, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They captured the little nugget and got him out of there.
I think I got a rodent issue.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of rodents, but especially that Puxatawny. That little guy is a pest.
Yeah. Thumbs down to him.
The sales team is going to lunch.
Yeah.
They all walk out.
I hope they have fun. Have fun at lunch, guys! Thanks for the invite. We'll be here working. Yeah, I can't hear you because I'm working. Hit the theme, Expo. Pickle. Hit the arrow sign. Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show on the internet. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live on TexasFootball.com, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, or on a sweater, or you'll listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks. She, like Dak Prescott, got her contract restructured. It's Ashley Pickle. You saved some cap room. Thank you very much for taking that pay cut.
Yeah, I didn't sign up for that.
Oh, well.
We're going to have to talk about this.
You weren't really in the room.
That seems about right. Happy International Women's Day.
Today is Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. 261 days until Thanksgiving. Happy birthday, 45th birthday to James Vanderbeek.
Okay.
That's Dawson from Dawson's Creek. And it's Mox. It's Johnny Moxon from Varsity Blues.
Oh, okay.
I don't want your life.
It's also our buddy Mike Alexander's birthday.
Oh, from Grapevine?
He's, huh?
From Grapevine?
No. The other Mike Alexander.
That's the head coach of Grapevine.
I know.
You can't on this show say, "Oh, Mike Alexander," and not expect me to be like, "Oh yeah, head coach of the Mustangs."
No. For our Bally Sports Southwest, cameraman extraordinaire. Our videographer from Bally Sports Southwest. I'm big fan of Mike.
Oh, happy birthday, Mike.
So other Mike Alexander that works in Texas high school football.
Maybe it's the other Mike Alexanders too.
That would be kind of cool.
That'd be kind of rad. Anyway, I don't know if that's the case. Episode 1345. On today's show, mis amigos, we're going to dive into Math Tuesday and take a look at our friend of the show, Bill Connolly's latest numbers and latest nerdery up on ESPN.com.
Nerdery.
We'll talk about what Texas FBS teams have the most production coming back in 2022. We'll talk about that. In the back half of the show, we'll be joined by the head coach of the Lumberton Raiders. Coach James Reyes will join us after a really nice first year there for the Raiders. He took over a program that I believe went 2-7 the year before, and they go 6-5, able to get into the playoffs. We'll talk with him coming up here at the back half of the program down there in Hardin County. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Nick Morton, Just Chad, Aaron Arbuckle, and Rob Hadaway. Welcome in, fellas.
Welcome in, my friends. Okie dokie. Do we have any pre-show announcements? I don't know if we do.
I don't think so.
Okay. We got shows all week, right?
Yeah.
Even though you're going to be going to your side hustle.
I do.
Conference USA.
Yeah, I'm helping MC the Fan Fest this week. So, but that's after the fact. I will say, if North Texas wins the first round game, they play at 11:30 on Friday. So
we may have an impromptu watch along.
I'll either just accidentally not show up because I'm at the game, or I'll be very focused.
We'll keep you guys posted on the North Texas basketball game on Friday if
that would be a semifinal game. So that's big doings, sir.
You're not wrong.
Malpal will be there emceeing it, so she'll be there in person.
Okay. They're at the Star.
Mm-hmm. The Star. Hoops at the Star.
All right, Pickle, it's time for Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
I don't know how we ended up doing math on Tuesday, but here we are doing Math Tuesday. And normally with these, I am going and kind of digging up my own statistics, and I'm going and kind of crunching numbers myself. I was very, very lazy this week. And instead,
that's always great to bring in the public.
I went to a professional nerd.
Math Tuesday.
A professional
knowledgeable.
dork.
Yeah.
Our good friend Bill Connolly at ESPN.com. And he annually puts up an article about the returning production for each college football team at the FBS level. Bill Connolly's stuff is great, and you should go subscribe to ESPN Plus if you're not. This is an ESPN Plus thing, but it is very, very good stuff. And basically, he's come up with a formula that, and he changes the formula year to year to make it as accurate as possible. But basically, he goes through and he takes all of the factors that you had in 2020 in the year prior, and he weights them differently to come up with a percentage of returning production coming back. So, for example, if you were to bring back every single player from last year's team, you would bring back 100% of your production. If you were to bring back 0 players from last year's team, you would bring back 0% of your production. So the way that he weights it this particular year is The receiver and tight end receiving yards counts as 37% of the overall number offensively. Quarterback passing yards, 29%. The returning offensive line snaps, 28%. And then returning running back rushing yards is 6%. And so basically, and then on the defensive side, percent of returning tackles, right? How many, if you had 100 tackles and you bring back 40 tackles, of 40 players who account for 40 of them, that's going to count for 59% of the weight. Passes defended, 28%. Tackles for loss, 8%, and sacks, 5%. And so really a lot of what they're looking at, it's easy, I can tell you right now, if you have a receiver core and a quarterback coming back, plus like your offensive line.
Right.
And you've got what I found, especially continuity in the secondary, is what he values as far as these metrics are concerned.
Because that's probably the hardest to develop.
And so he ranks all 131 FBS teams, including James Madison, who is a new FBS program. All 131. You can find those on ESPN.com. I have gone and I've pulled the 12 FBS teams in the state of Texas. And so right now, I guess you've seen the graphics, so this isn't fun.
Yeah.
But who would you have guessed had the most returning production coming back?
Honestly, I mean,
I'll tell you who my guess would have been.
Yeah.
It would have been Houston.
Houston, yeah, that would make the most sense.
That would have been mine.
If Haynes King would have played, I would have said that A&M probably would have been slightly up there, but they lost a lot on that defense, so that kind of takes it down.
Too.
Yeah. But no, Houston is definitely, or SMU possibly.
Yes. So let's go to the numbers, and let's take a look at the returning production, according to our friend Bill Conley at ESPN.com, for these teams. Number one, the TCU Horned Frogs.
See, that blows my mind.
9th overall, but you got to remember, they're bringing back Max Duggan.
Yes.
They're bringing back, and they've got a lot of continuity in the secondary. They're actually 12th in defensive production returning.
So, can I ask this question real fast before we get too far into this? This is not taking into account the level of play that they had, correct?
No, like only statistics.
Okay, that makes more sense because it's one of those things. Like, no offense to Max Duggan, but he is not a more valuable asset to TCU than Clayton Tune is to Houston.
100%.
So this is just bringing it back.
It's full yardage.
Okay.
It's passing yards is what.
Then that makes more sense with that.
And so TCU number one in Bill Conley's rankings, number one, 9th overall. Number 2, North Texas. North Texas, which is interesting.
Take that as you will.
But they bring back 90% of their offense.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that has to do with offensive line continuity and their receiver core is largely coming back intact,
which is good.
And I believe all their quarterbacks who threw the ball basically.
Yeah, that's
Number 3 is SMU. Now SMU, that's one thing that he really likes. He really likes this SMU team, saying that new coach Rhett Lashley really might have the pieces in place to put up a fight in the American Athletic Conference, especially because they've got 83% of that offensive production coming back. And 4th was UTSA. I think obviously bringing back Frank Harris helps. They do have some holes to fill on the defensive side. You see, they're 69th in defense.
If they would have had Sincere McCormick, I bet you they would have been.
Yeah,
they would have moved
higher.
up.
But remember, they also don't value running back yards as much.
That's true.
They view running back yards as less important
than the receiving
less
core.
replaceable than catches, and less replaceable than offensive line. Texas State number 5 there, 23rd, including 89th or 89% of their offense. That's second in Texas as far as that, but they're getting torched in the defense. 74% for Houston at number 6, and they've kind of got that balance. They're actually bringing back 76% of their defense, which I think is going to be, which should be pretty helpful for them. And then obviously guys like Clayton Tune. UTEP number 7 on this list. Defensively especially, but they have a lot of pieces to replace offensively. I think
Jacob Cowing probably put a huge hit. Yeah.
Texas number 8. Obviously they're going to have a new quarterback. That's pretty hurtful to them in these rankings. 53rd overall for Texas, but losing your quarterback and a decent number of your weapons on the outside of Xavier Worthy is going to be hurtful. Rice comes in at number 9, 77th overall. They are going to be a pretty much complete rebuild offensively. Same thing goes for the defense there on Texas A&M, who checks in at number 10. They get really wiped out defensively in the secondary, and a lot of those guys that they had up front. They're going to need to rebuild. And then also, look, they're obviously Zach Calzada's out the door. He got almost all of the passing yards right last year, and so they're replacing there, plus a couple of weapons on the outside. So right now, number 10 there at Texas A&M. Joey McGuire inherits a team with at Texas Tech, the 90th most returning production in the nation, 60% overall, especially offensively. They are getting pretty much wiped. Part of it is that Tyler Shuck was injured a lot and things like that, but a lot of the receiving core is gone, and they're going to have to replace some offensive line. And pulling up the rear at number 12 is Baylor, of course, the defending Big 12 champs. They have what is supposed to be the least productive returning unit in Texas, which is the Baylor defense. 113th overall defensively there. They're 99th overall. And yeah, that's one thing certainly to keep an eye on. But Baylor's a team. That's
a big question mark team for us.
They bring back Gary Bohannon,
which is good.
And what's interesting is that actually their offensive line and their defensive line, I think, have a chance to be really, really good. Maybe the best in the conference. But line experience doesn't weigh super heavily on this on these especially on the defensive side,
right?
But they have a lot of turnover at the secondary spots, and they have a lot of turnover at the at the receiving spots, and those are going to be big issues for Baylor going forward. So there you go. TCU, the most returning production, according to Bill Connolly there at ESPN. You can find that at ESPN.com. The college football's returning production for the 2022 season surprised me a little bit.
Yeah. Do they ever do one where they do take into effect level of play per se, or level of importance?
That's one of the things that I think that they want to. Obviously, look, if you're losing,
that's opinionated almost. Yeah,
exactly right. This is purely based on numbers. The other thing to keep in mind is he tries to keep up on transfers, but there's still going to be transfers and things, guys coming in, guys leaving. And then also there's going to be recruiting. They're trying, A&M, for example, we mentioned there. They are number 10 in the FBS teams in Texas as far as returning production is concerned.
But they've got the number one recruiting class in the nation.
Exactly right. So how much does that factor into it? This is basically only looking at what you did last year and how much of that is coming back for the new season.
Which is probably the only way you can realistically do it.
I think that's the only way that you can do it. You can do that as far as
having a formula and having a straight answer as to how you got to your equation.
Yes, exactly. So he will say that, if you're asking what this means, about 8% of teams return at least 80% of their overall production. On average, they improved by about 5.8 adjusted points per game. So they did improve. That's pretty significant. So that would mean that if you were 20th last year, that would bump you up to 7th. If you're 40th, they'll bump you up to 15th. On the other end, if you bring back less than 50% of your production in a given season, you drop from about, say, 10th to 27th or 40th to 67th, around there. And so based on his numbers, there is this is a decent canary in the coal mine as to what to expect. That TCU, I think there's fair reason to be optimistic about Sonny Dykes and what he's bringing in. Obviously, a lot of transition there, but pretty fair reason to be excited about that. North Texas, I think, the same way. On the other end, for Baylor, maybe there's reason to expect some regression. Maybe there's reason for Tech to think that they may have a tough first year. So, under Joey McGuire. So, a lot to dive into. You can go to ESPN.com and read this. It is by Bill Connolly, our friend of the show. College football teams returning production for the 2022 season. Go subscribe to ESPN+. I'm supposed to tell you that since we borrowed their numbers.
Math Tuesday.
We are Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbells, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Hope you'll consider becoming a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. 2 magazines, including our legendary summer edition, mailed to you before it hits newsstands, plus a year's worth of exclusive online content at TexasFootball.com. We're recording a new episode of Tep and Step next Monday.
How about that?
That is what you're into. So go check that out, TexasFootball.com. Pickle, let's go to the hotline, and let's go down to Hardin County to talk to the head coach of the Lumberton Raiders. We're joined by Coach James Reyes. Coach, how are you? What'd you do, Pickle? Try again. Coach, do you read me?
I got you.
There you go. How are you, my friend? How are things in beautiful Lumberton, Texas?
Oh, they're great. A little rainy right now and cold, but we're going to make it through.
I imagine that you will. So I want to ask you a little bit about your 2021 season. You know, you come in there in January and you take over a program that, you know, what was 2-7, kind of needing a little bit of a jolt. You guys were able to improve to 6-5, rather, a 4-win improvement getting into the playoffs in your first year there at Lumberton. I'm interested from your perspective as the guy who was there on the inside. How do you assess what you guys were able to do in 2021?
You know, as soon as we came in, we went to work in the weight room and just try to get our kids stronger and faster. You know, I'm a guy, I love the kids, and you know, I do a lot with the kids, and we just try to change the mentality around here of you know, competing and winning at everything we do. And you know, we started last year with football a little earlier than normal. We try to go during the period, you know, a couple of days a week, started in March, which we'll push back a little further this year since we got our strength and conditioning program moving forward. But that's what we did, man, and we just got the kids to believe in what they were doing and themselves and the coaches, and so we just pushed forward in that way. And you know, we moved it into the summer with our strength conditioning program in the summer, and the kids showed up. Had a bunch of kids out, girls and boys. And just kept moving forward in that way.
You know, we hear from coaches all the time that when they take over a new job, you know, it's a new voice in the room, and maybe it can be difficult for guys to buy in or really latch on to buy what the coach is selling. Did you sense from the beginning that your players and your athletes were picking up what you were putting down, or did it take some time for them to kind of get used to you?
You know, it took a little time, but I mean, it always is. You know, there's a trust issue when a new guy comes in. You know, with a new staff and you know, the current staff as well. So you got to kind of do some things to gain their trust and to gain the kids' trust. And you know, these kids here are eager to win, and you know, at all sports. But you know, in football, we were young. We started a bunch of young kids, and you know, we came in and told them all the spots were open, and that every kid's gonna have to compete for a spot. It didn't matter if they were a 2-year started since they were sophomores, which we had some kids that started since they were sophomores and were going to be seniors, and we opened up every position for competition, and the kids battled. And you know, we had some kids that started for you know, a year or two, and you know, didn't win a job, and we had some younger kids that stepped up and you know, played really well. But you know, it's all about a trust issue, and the kids getting to believe in me, and you know, me pushing forward with them, believing in themselves that they can do, you know, anything's possible as long as they put the work in.
Talking with James Reyes, the head coach of the Lumberton Raiders here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation in #TF Today. All right, Coach, you're an offensive guy, and you come in, you're a spread guy. The offense, you come over as the offensive coordinator from center, take over this program, and the offense really starts to take flight. You guys are able to improve your scoring offense pretty much immediately. I think a lot of the credits, you know, a lot of people are going to point at your outstanding sophomore quarterback, Lucas Powell, and what he was able to do last year, 2,500-yard passer, you know, 24 passing touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns. What is it about this young man that makes him special, and how important was he to getting that offense really lifting off there as the season went on?
You know, Lucas, he's a great athlete. He's smart. You know, he does well in the classroom. He studies film. He listens. You know, we got to get better. You know, he had, we talked about it actually today. You know, he had 10 interceptions this year. We got to cut down on that. But, you know, he got us out of some tough situations, you know, when we might have missed a block on the O-line. But, you know, he does a great job of reading the keys and seeing the field. And again, he is a sophomore. he had a great year, but we look for great things out of him moving forward. But offensive line wise, when I got here, I was told that we weren't very big up front, but our kids battled, and we're not small either, and so our kids up front battled. Again, we switched offenses. We went straight from the slot T, what they've done in the past. They did spread it out a little bit last year, but we went to a straight spread, full pace offense. Going fast, one back. We don't run a tight end or an H back. So it was a different deal, but the kids embraced it. They loved it, and we got some good athletes coming back. So we're excited about next year.
Yeah. Coach, one of the places that I know you guys got to feel really good about is especially at the receiver corps. You're bringing back up four of your most experienced receivers there. Guys who put up some big numbers. Brady Fusilier. I'm probably butchering his name. I apologize. Trey Kirsch, guys like that. I have to imagine that when you take a look at your 2022 season or 22 year with another year with the offense under your belt and with the type of receiving core that you're bringing back, I have to imagine you're feeling pretty good about the way your offense could roll in 2022.
Yeah, we're super excited. Brady Fusilier is how you say his last name, but people butcher that thing all year, at stadiums. But Caleb Cook's coming back. We got Kyle Markintel that played a lot during the year when a couple of guys were hurt, and then Trey Kirsch is coming back as well. So we're super excited about where we are at the receiving level. I like to have 6 or 7 guys that we can plug in at any time because you're never going to make through a football season with all the guys stay healthy all the time. So we're super excited about where those kids are. We started a sophomore running back that came in week 2 and just jumped in and went. And he had a great year as well. And so we're looking for great things from him. But, again, we were young this year. We're excited about where we are. We're excited about where we are up front on the offensive line. And, we look for great things in 2022 offensively.
James Reyes of Lumberton joined us. The defense, too, I think with the the spectacular youngsters you guys had offensively, the defense make it overlooked. You guys were able to shave something like 2 touchdowns per game off your defensive average. What was it that clicked for you guys? What was that worked for you guys defensively in 2021?
We switched defenses for one. We went from a 4-man front to a 3-man front. When I came in, I thought we had more linebacker-type bodies in the building than we did defensive line bodies. And so we switched to a 3-4. Coach McDonald did an unbelievable job of getting those kids to buy into that. And we flew to the football, made some big plays. We do have some good young players, in that group. And, we're excited about where they are. We're graduating a couple of good football players at safety, a couple of good outside linebackers, and a very good defensive end. And that was a hard nose, played hard every game. And you were going to have to fill some holes defensively, but we're super excited about where that group is as well. We're getting stronger in the weight room, and I think we'll be faster this next year defensively than we were this year.
Coach, one thing that I think is interesting, this was here at Lumberton, this is your first head coaching job, first athletic director job. You're now a year in. What do you know now about the job that maybe you didn't know if we were having this conversation a year ago?
I guess just how to manage all of it. When you go to school or you jump into an assistant coaching job, you never get the full on how to deal with being a head football coach plus dealing with the AD duties. You always get called in to something on a short notice that you got to run, and you got to make sure your coaches we're organized, and I think we were. The good thing is we go in the mornings, so there's not a lot going on early in the morning at 6:15 when we start, and so I get to go out there and coach some football, and my coaches do a great job as well picking up in case I'm not around, but and just dealing with everyday kids. I've been blessed. My father's been an AD and head football coach for a long time and retired, and so if I've got a question, I always call and pick his brain. And I also got buddies all around the state of Texas that are head football coaches and ADs that I touch base with. I don't know everything. I don't pretend to know everything. And so I'm always calling to my buddies and my father to get those extra tidbits that I need to push us forward to 2022.
Finally, Coach, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about realignment, which was almost entirely just boring for you guys. The same district 10 4A Division 1, you guys, the same district lineup there with Little Cypress, Mauriceville, Viter, Huffman, Hargrave, Livingston, and Splendora. And normally I feel like coaches would say, oh, okay, well, it stays the same. That's a good thing. Feels like you guys could use a break from this district. I mean, you want to talk about one of the most quality districts, top to bottom, in 4A Division 1. I imagine that you look at this district and say, well, you've got to put on your working boots every single week because it seems like a really challenging district.
It is, and I'm gonna tell you, all these guys do a great job. They've done well everywhere, and a lot of these guys have, Coach Matthews at Viter's been there for a long time. Mm-hmm. Coach Peavy did a great job at Beaumont Westbrook, then came into Little Cypress and did an unbelievable job there this year. Coach McEachern at Hargraves does a great job, been there for a long time. But every up and down the lineup, those guys do a great job, and it's not something that every week you're gonna have to come and play, and but I think that prepares you for the playoffs. You can't go through district and not play anybody, and jump into to Texas high school football playoffs, and think you're going to win a game if you haven't been tested. And I thought this year our kids were tested, all throughout the year. We ended up having to play Columbus, and they do a great job. Baytown Lee did a great job. Coach at East Chambers does a great job. But I feel like, we were battle tested for district, and we're going to do the same this year. Open up with Hampshire Finette, and we're playing Houston Private School this year. We're going to play Nacogdoches and Bridge City and Tatum, and so I think putting those guys on the non-district schedule is going to prepare us for a tough district, and then moving into the playoffs. Region 3, it's tough sledding. So you got to make sure you're prepared to move into to the playoffs and to week 1. I mean, golly, you got that District 9 is loaded with talented kids and coaches that do a great job over there with Kilgore, Lindale, Chapel Hill, Jacksonville, Henderson. They all do a great job, and we're excited about where we are and excited about it. And, I'm from East Texas, so I've played those guys a lot. I know what they do, and so looking forward to the season.
He's James Reyes. He's the head coach of the Lumberton Raiders. Coach, really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on a fantastic first year there with the Raiders, and looking forward to seeing what you guys do in 2022.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. There he goes. James Reyes, the head coach, the Lumberton Raiders, join us here. Texas football today. Yeah, I mean, that district's a bear, and we've talked a lot about Little Cypress, Mauriceville.
Especially with LCM coming up.
LCM, how good they've been, obviously in the first year under Coach Peavy, but Viter was obviously a good team last year. Huffman, Hargrave, Lumberton, etc. I look at a team like Splendora. Splendora finished last in that district. They were 4-1 going into district play. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then they went 0-5 in district play. That's a pretty darn good. That's one of those teams like 4-6, right? Like a pretty good 4-6 team. Mm-hmm. That district, top to bottom, is really tough. Mm-hmm. And for Lumberton to bounce back the way that they did, after a 2-7 year, Chris Baben, the coach that retired, that Coach Reyes took over for, started getting that thing going. And Coach Reyes is kind of continuing that tradition that they've helped to build there in Lumberton down there in Hardin County. So we appreciate Coach Reyes taking a little bit of time with us. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment, Final Thoughts.
We got called out for talking about your gopher problem. Apparently, it wouldn't have been gophers that were digging tunnels. It would have been moles.
Okay. Those are the same thing, right?
No, they're actually not. I do know that. I thought
What's the difference?
gophers also dug holes.
I thought they did too. What's the
Gophers
difference
look
between,
more like.
What's the difference between a mole and a zebra? Are they the same thing?
They could be. Moles look like little possums.
Have you ever seen a mole and a zebra in the same room at the same time?
I can't say I have. I have seen a mole before, but not in the same time.
Look, folks, I don't hide who I am. I'm city folk.
That's what it
Okay.
said. It said Tep City Boy. Those were moles digging tunnels, not
Guys,
gophers.
Guys, I don't hide who I am.
Again, we can just classify them as rodents, and we're just
rodents.
not fans
That's
of
what it was.
rodents.
It was rodent control.
I don't think I've ever met a rodent that I like.
Right. Exactly. I mean,
I've got rodent issues. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like them.
Exactly. I was out there, mowing my lawn, and then suddenly I just noticed these tunnels. And,
Yeah. And we're not having that around these parts.
not in this cul-de-sac. No, sir.
That and how are you feeling, champ, really have hit your dad peak today.
I did. I think I called you sport this morning.
Yeah.
I asked you. You are feeling much better, right?
I am. Yeah, I feel like a whole new woman. Like I am back and better than ever.
You want to get some crawfish for lunch?
Stop.
That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Also Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to James Reyes, the head coach of the Lumberton Raiders, for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.